If you want to quickly build a portfolio website, Jimdo Website Builder is a pretty great choice. It allowed me to quickly and easily build 2 great looking portfolio websites. And I found that working with Jimdo was a fun process. It's kind of like building your website with Lego blocks. There are some limitations to it, but overall I think it makes great looking websites. So if you have about 45 minutes to an hour and you want to build your own portfolio website, let's do it. I'm Tim from RealWebsiteHints.com, and it's my mission to help you find the best and easiest ways of building great-looking websites. So let's take a quick look at the 2 portfolio websites that I was able to make, and the one that we're going to be using in this tutorial. Okay, so this portfolio here, I really didn't spend very much time building it all. I probably spent like 15, maybe 20 minutes putting it together. I was really able to just kind of grab bunch of images. I actually pulled in some images directly from Instagram on here. So I was pretty impressed with what I was able to do. Actually, I did like the fact that I could select multiple images from my computer and upload them all at once and add them to a page like this gallery page here. And of course, you could set these to be different types of portfolios if you had different kinds of photography that you did. This here is all just my travel photography that I've added, but you can see you get a bunch of different styles here. Now this here is the main site that I worked on and built, and this is their portfolio page that we're going to be working on in this tutorial here. And these are some of the sort of effects and fire photography and industrial kind of product photography that I've taken. You can see here, I think it came out, I was actually really impressed with how well it came out. And this took me, I think, an hour and a half the first time I did it before I did the tutorial. And I think in the tutorial, I've got it down to about an hour. And so I would expect it's going to take you probably somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how many images you have to make a portfolio website like this. And not only was I able to create these types of portfolio pages where you can see my images, you can also click on the images and then it goes full screen, just like this, and then your viewers can go and slide through the images. But I also was able to make some case study pages, which I think is a great thing to do if you're trying to sell your services as a photographer or as an artist. It's a way where you can kind of go more in depth to describe what you went through to produce the photos or produce the art that you have, or what your process is when you're working with clients. And I was able to add a time-lapse video here, which actually is on YouTube. Kind of put that into this page here, where and this page here is all talking about how I did this shoot and how I was able to achieve these results. And I'm just impressed by how easy it is to use Jimdo to create these kind of portfolio pages. Pretty impressive. I think Jimdo creates great results for a basic portfolio website like these. But if you do need some more advanced features, like if you want to have your clients be able to view the images that you've taken for them on your website, Jimdo might not be right for you. But if you just want to create a very basic portfolio website like the one that I just showed you, where you're displaying your images, maybe you're talking a little bit about your process for your art or for your photography, I think Jimdo is a great way of doing it. If you're looking for some other solutions, be sure to check out my video on my top ways of making websites and my top ways of making portfolio websites. And those will be coming out soon, and I'll link to those down below. But if something like the examples that I just showed you are exactly what you're looking for, let's dive in and build it. I think you're really going to enjoy the process of building your portfolio website with Jimdo. In this tutorial, I'll be starting out with the free version of Jimdo, and you'll find a link to that down in the description below. If you decide that you like it and you want to purchase Jimdo, by using the links down below, you'll also be helping to support this channel and the free tutorials and the free reviews that I create. So I thank you for your support. Now let's go ahead and dive in and build this great looking portfolio website. So this is the Jimdo homepage as it currently stands. Hopefully it'll be the same when you get here. There's something to note about Jimdo, and that there's actually 2 versions of Jimdo. There's one called Jimdo Dolphin, and that's the one we want to use. It's a very easy to use website building platform. And there's also Jimdo Creator, which is also a fairly easy to use platform, but it's a little bit more complicated. It takes a little bit more time to set up. And actually I've really enjoyed using Jimdo Dolphin, even though there's some limitations into what you can do with the design. It just goes so fast, and I think that the results are great looking. I'm willing to compromise a tiny bit on the look of my website just to be able to get it done really quickly. So we want to make sure we're using Jimdo Dolphin. And unfortunately, there's nothing that says Dolphin or Creator. You just have to kind of know where they are. So if you click on the Start Free here, just enter in your current email address and a password down here. Agree to their terms of service, and then click Sign Up. And then just go ahead and confirm your email. And then once you've confirmed your email, it'll take you to a page that looks like this. And here's where the switch is between Jimdo Creator and Jimdo Dolphin. And of course, it doesn't really show you which one's which, but if you click on Create Blog, you'll see these options here, and these are options for Jimdo creators. This is what we do not want to do. What we want to do is create a website. And now here, again, we have the options to go to either Jimdo Creator or Jimdo Dolphin. And so this version here, the editor for coding experts, this is Jimdo Creator, which is what we do not want to do. We want to go over here to the Jimdo Dolphin version, which is this one here that says no coding required. And that's going to make it super fast and easy for us to build our website. Let's go ahead and click on Start Now. And now it's going to go through a process of asking us several different questions to get to know what kind of a website we're going to make. And so since this is for my photography, I'm just going to select a single individual, then click on Continue. And then here they're trying to guide you and kind of learn about what kind of a website you're making. Is it just for a personal project, a project and a hobby, a project I might want to turn into a business, a new business that you have, or an established existing business. So I'm going to select a project that I might like to turn into a business. And this is actually something that, maybe I do want to. I don't currently sell my services as a photographer, but, maybe I'd want to, and a portfolio is a great way to kind of decide on that and maybe get some feedback on your work. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and click on Continue. And I'm going to give it a name. Going to make it real simple here, just Tim Martin Photography, and then I'm going to click Continue. And now if you already have a listing with either Google Business or Facebook Business, it's going to try to pull this up. This is actually not me. I'm based in Los Angeles, and this guy here is based someplace in the UK. So that's not me, but if you did already have a business and it was already on Google Business or Facebook Business, it would show up here. And that would actually already pull in some information about your business onto your website, so that could be really helpful. And here again, we get some options, which is going to help to define what the look is of your website. And in this case here, we want to showcase our work because we're building a portfolio website. So go ahead and click on Showcase My Work and click Continue. And then we had the various different types of art that you might be showcasing. So if you don't see it here, you can try typing in something. So let's say graphic design, if that's what you were going to do, that's listed here. I'm going to go ahead and go with photography because that's what this portfolio is all about. In this particular example, I don't have these photos listed on Instagram, so I'm not going to connect my Instagram account. I'm just going to say, no thanks, I'll upgrade my own photos later on, and I'm going to click Continue. Now here they're going to give you some choices on different looks that your website might have. You don't really get a lot of options here. I'm going to go with dark because I already know that's kind of my style, and that's the style of my photography already. But you might want to select one of these other options. And when you select that, it's going to create these color profiles for you, and these are going to be the sort of base colors of your website. And you can change this later, so don't worry about it. So just pick the one that's the closest to the base colors that you'd like for your website. So for me, my photography is very dark, so I'm going to go with sort of like the darkest two color options here. And then it's going to recommend a couple of different kinds of pages that you might want to have on your website. You're only allowed to choose 3 here, but you can add different pages later. And depending on which plan you decide on, you can have more or less pages. I think the base plan, which I recommend for a basic portfolio website, is $9 a month, and that includes 10 pages, which should be plenty to showcase your work and either your photography or whatever your art might be. I think these are a great starting point, these 3 pages, so I'm going to select those, and then I'm going to click Continue. And here it's showing you some starting points, and it basically only gives you 2 starting points. If you did want to see some other options, you can click back, and then you can click Continue again, and it should load some different options. Here we go. So it's kind of a little hack to kind of get started with where you want to get started immediately, but you don't really have to worry because you have access to all of these different what they call blocks. Each one of these sections is called a block, and you can adjust the color and the background color and things like that very easily. You don't have to worry if you don't see exactly kind of the colors that you want for the background here. You can adjust that later. But here, This is kind of the color and look that I want. For my photography, I'd like to have a dark background because I think that's what makes it pop and makes it look best. But your photography, you might want a white background like this starting point here. It just depends on what kind of photography you have and what your style is. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one and then click continue. And if you wanted to get a domain name to start your website with, you can go ahead and select this, and with the paid upgrade, you'll get the first year, I believe, of this domain name for free. So with the $9 a month plan, you'll get the first year free, and then after that, I think they charge you separately for the domain name. Actually, I already have a domain name that I'm going to use for this website that I've reserved for another registrar, but definitely the easiest way to get a domain name is just go ahead and do it here if you don't already have a domain name that you want to use that's been registered with another registrar. And the reason why it's easier to do it with the company that you're building the website with is that way they're handling all of the connections and you don't have to worry about connecting your domain name to your website from another source. It's not that difficult, but it does involve a couple extra steps. If you want to make building your website as easy as possible, I'd recommend just going ahead and selecting a domain name directly with Jimdo. And you don't have to do it now. You can do it. You do have the option of doing it later, but that's just something to keep in mind. For me, since I already have my domain name, and if you already have your domain name with a registrar, you can click choose a domain name later. And if you are going to use Jimdo to register your domain name, you can still click choose a domain name later and then decide on what you want that domain name to be later. And then click continue. Okay, so here we go. This is kind of what they've laid out for us already for your website. It's kind of an idea of what the starting point you might want to do. And what I actually found really useful was just going through the assistant here, because I feel like it's really well thought out and it really helps you get your website up and running quickly. So let's go ahead and just do that. So we're going to click on pick your font, go to, and we can select over here font sets, and then you can decide which font sets you want. I actually like the default option, but if you wanted one of these other options, you can just click on it, and you can see it already changes it. Actually, I think I like that better. I'm going to go with this. I changed my mind here. But you can click on it, you can see it instantly what it's going to look like. So I think that's really helpful. And then you can also decide what size you want the text to be. And I tend to like to go big with text. I want to make sure that it's really easy for people to read. So I'm actually going to select large here. And I'm going to click done at the top. And I'm going to just keep going with the assistant here. So click show next step. And we can add images or videos to our website. We're going to go and click go to. And so now this is going to allow us to add a background image here. So for me, for my website, I want to sort of put forward like the image that I'm the most proud of and the kind of work that I'd like to do more of. And I just want to really make sure that that's prominently displayed. So what I've done is I've already put together all of the images that I might want to use in my portfolio, and I've put them together in a folder so I can just quickly find them and go ahead and upload them. And so this here's the picture that I took that I want to use for the header image. So I'm going to go ahead and open that, and it's still uploading. Click add image. And I'm not too sure how Jimdo handles this, but I definitely recommend that when you're adding your images to your website, you don't actually want to have the full quality image. What I recommend doing is having the image size be no larger than, say, like 1800 by 1800. And then I recommend, if you're using something like Photoshop or Lightroom, is exporting it as a JPEG at about 62%. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to make sure that your images aren't slowing down your website. Part of search engine optimization and making sure that you rank highly on Google is having your website run as fast as possible. And obviously one of the biggest things that will slow down your website are large images that take a long time to load. So that's just kind of a quick tip on what to do with your images as far as preparing them to go on the internet. And if the aspect ratio of your image doesn't exactly fit with the spacing that your website has, you've got a couple of options. One is when you click on the image and you see these guidelines here, you can actually drag the image and move it around. So I'm just going to move this around here. You can also zoom in and zoom out, but only zoom out as far as the image will allow you to. There we go. So that made the assistant closed, but I want to keep going with the assistant. And so in order to be able to do that, you just click on the little box down here, and then it'll help you keep walking through the assistant. So now if you don't have a logo, you can add a logo with it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. So just click on go to here to add a logo. And then if you don't have a logo already, you can actually click this create logo, and Jimdo offers a create logo tool. It doesn't create the best logo or maybe the most unique logo, but if you don't have a logo at all and you just want something to help your website look a little bit more professional, using this tool is great. I'm not going to cover it in this tutorial, but it is super easy to do. I think they give you like 12 or 13 options on logos, and you can make a couple of different adjustments, kind of how their website tool works, and it makes a really good logo. And the logo that I'm going to use for this website is actually one that I made with the Jimdo tool here. So we just click on this logo button here, and we can upload a logo. And so this is sort of the logo designs that they created for me. And this is kind of this is the logo that I really wanted to have, the one with the red image up here. But since the background here is dark, the dark lettering doesn't work. I'm going to use this white logo right here. Click on that and then click Add Image. And there we go. Now it's added our logo here. We can remove this text here. And so to adjust things within one of the blocks, each one of these sections of your website, so the header here, this section here, and then the next section down here, these are what Jimdo calls blocks. So to remove the text, what you do is you click the little eyeball icon here, and this will remove the various different elements from that page. We'll just uncheck the text, since basically my logo says exactly the same thing as the text says here. Okay, there we go. And let's just continue with the assistant here, see what else it suggests. Add a logo, we did that. Make your website live, we'll do that right at the end. Change block layout. So this is just going to show us how to adjust the various different blocks and how to add blocks, which is what I'm going to show you, so we don't need to go through that. And I'll also show you how to edit your navigation menu. And then the last thing to do is to make our website live, which we will do later on. So to close the assistant, you just close the X down here. Okay, and so to edit text, it's very self-explanatory. Just click on the text that you want to edit, and then just go ahead and edit it. Now, one thing I have noticed with the builder is sometimes when you have heading text like that, and then you've got a body text down here, is that completely deleting the heading text will cause the body text to go into the heading text style. So I've got a little workaround for that, and when that problem comes up, I'll show you what that is. Make your product stand out. That's sort of my tagline for this website. And if you want to adjust the size of the heading, you've got the options right here when you click on it. I'm going to go ahead and make it large. You also have the alignment, italic, bold, sort of the basic text editing features are right there. And I'm actually just going to remove this completely. And I'm going to change this button to, say, View the Portfolio. And we'll link this later on to a page. And the way you do that is just by clicking this link button here. But we haven't created any other pages yet. I think Jimdo has created some pages for us. We'll get to adding the link buttons later on. Okay, so this section here I don't want. So in order to delete a section or delete a block, you just click on these three little dots here and then click the trash can icon. Or if you wanted to duplicate this block, you can click the duplicate button here. And if you wanted to move the block around, you use it with these arrows here to move the blocks up and down. So let's go ahead and delete this section. I think actually what I want to do here is I've got sort of three different styles of product photography that I do. And so I think I want to have a section that kind of immediately leads people to those three different styles. So to do that, we're going to add a new block. So we're just going to push the plus icon right below the section, so right where we want the new content to go. And then over here, we've got like all the different kinds of blocks that we can add to our website. So for this, in this case, I want to use the columns block. And you can see how all of these are white background sections, which doesn't really match the rest of the style of the page. So in order to make it a black background section, or whichever color you want based on the colors that they offer, you can click right here, and that's going to change the color of the section. So I want to use this three column section here that has the button in it. Now you can turn the button on and off. You could turn the text on and off and the titles on and off, so you don't have to worry about that too much. The things you want to look for are sort of like the general layout. You can actually even add more columns if you want, but you want to look at the general layout and like where the title is. Those are sort of the things that are harder to change later on. Go ahead and click on that. And I did mention about the colors, that you could change the colors of your website later on. So let me just quickly show you where you do that. So if you didn't like the colors that Jimdo automatically came up for you, for me this works great. This is exactly the colors that I want for my website. But if it's not exactly the colors you want, you can click over here on Design, and then you can click Edit Color Theme, and you've got two options here. One is you can sort of change the primary color of the website, and it's going to give you various different options. So I change it to this color here, for example. Now I've got these different color palettes to choose from, and you can actually even click on them, and you'll see, it's kind of subtle, but you'll see how the text is changing color. You can also decide whether you want the color, how bright you want the colors to be by using the slider here, whether you want it to be very muted or very bright. And so this is going to give you some different options on that. And then you can change the background color by selecting the block and changing the block color, the block design color. So that's how you go about sort of changing the colors on your website. And again, you don't have perfect control over it. You basically have to use one of these pre-designed color palettes that they're offering to you. But I think in general, they're good looking color palettes, and it kind of just helps you quickly get your website done, which is what this tool is all about. So I'm going to go back down to muted. I'm going to turn this all the way back down to muted. I'm going to set this back to a dark gray color here. And then I want to make sure my text is white, because I really like to make sure everything stands out really well. So I'm going to use this palette here that shows the text is all in white. And then we're going to go back to color theme. Here we can also adjust what we want our buttons to look like. So I like a more rounded look for our buttons, so I'm going to click on that. And then I think the fade in works the best for the images. I noticed when I tried the slide in, it's going to pull in the background color, this background color here for the slide in, and so it's going to show this background color. So I think that in general, unless you really like what the background color is, having the fade in works better. Click done there. We'll go back to editing this section here. So I'm going to give this title section here, I call it Portfolios. And I'm going to add images that represent each different kind of portfolio, each different kind of photography that I do. Editing the image is really easy. You just click on it, click on the little Choose Image button here, upload images, and I'm just going to select several images here to upload them all at once. So I've got all of my fire photography images here. I'm going to select this one here for the cover of this section. And let's add this one here. And I'm just going to go ahead and upload several of these images also. I'm going to use this image for this section. And for the final section here, upload some more images of kind of a more standard product photography. And I'm going to select this image here. Okay, there we go. And another cool thing about Jimdo and what I like about using this for really easy website builder is that if you're like, this isn't quite the look that I wanted, if you click back over here to block design, you can then see some different options, and it's going to show you what your content that you put in there is going to look like if you selected a different type of layout. So that's something that I really like about this. You can even go to any of these different sections, and it's going to pull in your content, so you can see what your content, what the text looks like, what the image looks like, using any one of these different style of blocks. So that's something I really like. And let's just give each one of these sections a name. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about, where there's something not quite right with the programming here, where it's when you delete the title section, it is basically taking the title tag and wrapping all the rest of the text around it. Now to undo this, we've got two options. One is you can push the undo button up here. So this is undo and redo, or you can also just push Command or Control Z on your keyboard to do that. So the workaround that I've been using for this, just to make my life a little bit easier, is just leaving the last letter in there and then deleting that last letter later. Just like that. And the other thing I like about Jimdo and sort of its website design and kind of the intelligence of the feature is that if I know this doesn't seem like it seems like something that should be automatic, but that these read more buttons all stayed in line, even though the text is different heights, and that's something that other website builders don't do. It can be a real pain in the neck to get these things to line up right, but I appreciate the fact that they realize that the average user is going to want things like these buttons to line up in the same place, and they've made it so that it automatically does that. And you don't even have to think about it. It's really a great feature, I think. And if you wanted to, edit this text and add in your own text, probably a good idea, probably what you should do. You can do that. I'm just going to sort of shorten this up because I know the text I would put in here is a lot shorter. And I'm just going to change all of these so that they say view the portfolio. And we'll make those all link to individual portfolio pages. Whoops. Push the wrong button there. Individual portfolio pages for each one of these. And again, I don't want this section here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this section. So to do that, we just click the three dots and we click the trash can and kind of have a different idea for what I want this section to be. So I'm actually just going to change this section here. I'm going to use one of the covers. Use this cover here, and I'm going to change this image. Use this image here. It's an image of me doing a photo shoot with this bottle and this sort of fake crushed ice here. Kind of a fun little shoot. There we go. There's the title thing again. So I just did Command Z to get out of that. Okay, I'll just paste in some text about me. Instead of saying view my portfolio, I'm going to say more about Tim. And then in between here, I want to link to some case studies. So one thing you might want to include in your portfolio is I see a lot of portfolios that don't include any text at all, and I think that can be fine if you're just using it as a place to show off your work. But if you want to try to sell your work and sort of have your web page work for you, adding some sort of text on there can be a great way to convince people to go with you and to use your services. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of case study pages too that kind of talk about some of the bigger shoots that I have, some of the shoots also where I have got some sort of behind the scenes images of. So for that, I'm going to go back to the columns and I'm going to look for a 2-column view because I just have 2 case studies. So I'm going to select this. But I want it to be the black background, so I'm going to click back here on the block design again, click black, and there we go, and I change this heading here, case studies, and I think I want to make that a large heading, just like that. And let's toss in our images here. I want to use this image here for the first case study. The second case study I want to do is this bike shoot that I did. This guy built a custom bike. This is the bike here. He basically took a modern frame and put a older style 2-stroke engine, and apparently that's makes it much more powerful than the modern 4-stroke would be. And it's kind of it's something that people who are really into dirt bikes think is a pretty neat thing. So it's kind of a fun shoot that I did. All right, Command Z, and we'll just give this a title. And then I've just got some text that I'm going to paste in here that I wrote. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much how I want the home page to be. Let's see here. I think the other thing I want to do is just add a logo here to this footer section. And down here, this add section here will go away when you upgrade your plan with Jimdo if you decide that you want to keep your website with Jimdo. So to add a logo here, we just click on the show elements, click add logo. You could also choose to add a button if you wanted to. And we can go back to images, and my logo image is the one that shows up as white. Since the white background and my logo has a white background, so I'm just going to click add that. There we go. And you can also change the layout of this footer if you don't like that layout, which I don't. I think I just want this centered layout, just like that. There we go, and we can click Done here. There we go, fantastic. So let's go ahead and build some of our portfolio pages. And so one way of getting them is you can actually click on the menu items up here at the top, or you can also go over here to pages, and you can add or remove the different pages. So I'm going to remove the gallery page, because what I'm going to do is instead I'm going to have the different portfolio pages listed underneath that. So I'm going to click on delete, delete the gallery entry, and you can see how it automatically updates your menu. And then if you wanted to add a new page to the menu, so if you wanted to have a completely new menu item with a new page, you'd click the Add New Page button here. But if you wanted to have it be a drop-down under Portfolio, which is what I want to do, you just click the plus button here, and it's going to add it as a drop-down underneath there. So on this portfolio page, we'll need to add some more links, again, to the 3 different kinds of portfolio pages. That way this page here goes to something. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and create one of these portfolio pages. Fire photography. Okay, and so it goes ahead and takes us to that page. And so now what we're looking at here is we're looking at the header and then the footer of our website. So we'll want to go ahead and add some content. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add some images. And I'm going to change again the background color to black so I can kind of see what these are going to look like. Now we've got different kinds of image blocks that we can add. We can either add this masonry effect image block, this non-gutter block here where all the images are touching directly to each other, just straight square images. We could also add a slideshow if we wanted to do a slideshow, or we could add slideshow above or below our gallery section. So let's go ahead and add this masonry style block here. And we're going to go ahead and add images here. We've got 2 different methods we can do it. We can simply do like we've been doing before, where we just click on each image and then find the one we want to include and click Add Image. Or we can actually add multiple images at once by clicking the plus icon. And the plus icon allows us to add additional images past sort of the image that we see here. So by clicking the plus icon, we now get these little check boxes up here above each image, and we can select which images we want to add to the page. So I'm just looking for all of my fire photography images, because this page here is about my fire photography. This image here is actually was actually a video. It's a zigzag of sort of this fire effect that comes across. So it was a pretty interesting shoot. I could add it as a video. The one thing with the videos is that you either have to have it hosted on YouTube or hosted on Vimeo. I would definitely recommend that if you have a lot of, or actually if you have any video on your portfolio and you don't want the ads to pop up like they do on YouTube, that if you use Vimeo, you can get the Vimeo business plan, which does cost money, but then your images, or your videos rather, show up just as your videos. And I think you can also have it linked to your other videos at the end, but you're not going to see content from other people. So I think that's kind of a valuable thing if you're trying to show off your work. That's it. That's all I've got for my fire photography. So just click Add Images. There we go. And then it adds it right below this one image. Don't need this image here anymore, so we can just click the trash can to remove it. And I'll click the trash can to remove these other default images that were added in. And now I can just go about and just quickly sort of recenter the images so that they look a little bit better here. And there we go. And you can also move the images back and forth. So if I decided that this image here would look better on this side, you just use the little arrows here and it moves the images back and forth. I'm going to leave it kind of the way it was. I think that looks pretty good. And then also if you wanted to link any of these images to a specific page, say you had a case studies page that you wanted to link them to, or some other page, if you actually click on the image, you can link them right here by clicking the Insert Link button. And then just so you know what these pages look like, if you want to see what it looks like to somebody viewing your website, if you click the preview button up here, you can see it, what it's going to look like on their screens. And then if you click on an image, it actually brings the image full screen, and then your viewers can slide between each image and see the full size image. So that's all I've got for this fire photography. I haven't taken too many fire photography images, but I do think what I want to do above here is just add a title for this. So let's see what we can do to add a title here. Let me use this block here, and I want it to be black again. And I'm going to remove the text because I don't want the text to appear. I'm going to change this to just the title. There we go. So now I've got a title of this page, and we've got all of my fire effects photography here. And now if you wanted to continue your next portfolio page and have it look basically exactly like this with the same sort of style or pretty similar to this, what you can do is you can go over here to Pages, and then underneath the portfolio here, you click on these three little dots and you can do duplicate. So let's go ahead and edit it. So click on Go To here, and then we'll just change the name of this so we know what we're doing here. And then I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to speed this section up. I'm going to go through here and add in my specialty product photography pictures that I want to show off. Okay, so now I've got my specialty product photography page here complete. Now, one thing to note too is also if you wanted to link some of these images to a specific page where, like, say you wanted to, for example, I'm going to do a case study on this here and you wanted to link it to a specific page, you can actually click on it. If you click the link button here, you can link it to that page. And you're not limited here to having just images. If you wanted to add another block, you can add another block to this page here. Go back to Pages. I'm going to add our final portfolio page here. Don't know why it won't let me duplicate this page again, but that's okay. Oh, so what's happened here is that I've limited my 5 pages that you can do on the play function. When I was testing this out, I actually have a real paid site that I paid for with Jimdo. So I'm going to switch over to that, and I'm going to show you how to make the rest of the pages. If you wanted to continue playing around with Jimdo, if you're not totally sold on it and you wanted to try some different kind of pages, you can sort of delete one of these pages that you've created if you've been following along and follow along with this new page. Switched over to my paid version of it so that way I can have more pages on it. And now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this specialty product page. And I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward again through building my standard product page. Okay, now here I realize that almost all of the sort of product photography images that I've done are actually square in aspect ratio, and these actually wind up all looking okay here. Just happens to work out. But I think what I'm going to do is switch these over to a square layout, and that's, you know, the great thing about Jimdo is it's super easy to change things out like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch it over to this layout here. There we go. And on this page here, on this other site that I built, I did actually add the case studies to the bottom of the standard or the specialty photography page, which I think is kind of a good idea just to give some people something else to look at. I'm going to go ahead and delete it from this page, which again, it's really easy to do. Just click on Block Design, just click on the 3 dots rather on the bottom, and then click Delete. Okay, so now I've got all the pages set up except for the case study pages, and I do think it's a good idea if you have some information about some of the shoots you've done in the past to add that to your website, or if you have a different kind of art project to sort of go into a little bit more detail about how you created one of those pieces of art. And so let's just go ahead and add a page that talks about our sort of a case study page. So we're going to click over here to Pages, click Add New Page, Case Studies. There we go. And then I'm going to add a page underneath that, and you do that by clicking the plus icon. If you want to add a new page to the entire menu, you click on it down here. And I'm going to call it Beast Build. And basically, I'm going to also make this as a template for all the other case study pages that I created. And basically, any page you create is a template because all you've got to do is just click Duplicate in Jimdo to create another page. So let's go ahead and create this page. I'm going to start out with a cover. I'm going to set my background color to black. And there's one here. I really like this look here with sort of the title comes out over the image. I think that's kind of a neat look. So I'm going to our bike shot here. Perfect. Give it a title. Add in the text for that. And then I'm going to remove this read more because I don't really have any place to link this to. So again, to do that, you just click on the little eye icon here, and then you remove the primary button. If you wanted to add a second button, you could add a secondary button. And we're going to add another section down below this. For this section, let's see, I'm going to use text. Use this text here, and I want it to be black again. And down below this, I'm going to actually add a little time-lapse video that I created about setting up this build. So for that, I'm going to use the image block here. I'm just going to use the standard image block. And I'm going to change this image into a video. I've got the video link right here. And now this is a YouTube video. I didn't add it to my Vimeo professional website, but that's something that I would definitely recommend doing. Okay, and then this video will play on our website. And then I'm going to add another cover section here. This one here, but set it to black. And this section here is going to talk about sort of the details of the shoot, so I want to use one of the more detailed images. Let's choose this one here. It's not a terribly exciting image. And I don't have anything to link this section to, so I'm going to remove that button. And then below this, I'm just going to add some of the other images from that build. I'm going to use one of these tighter image sections like this one right here. Fast forward through this section right here as I add these images. Okay, and then we'll end with this section here. Actually, I'm going to add a button back in here to have people, to allow people to be able to get in touch with us. I'm going to have to link all these buttons together, but we'll go ahead and do that we'll do that next. So you want to add a button. Cool. So we'll add two more. Let's go over to the About Me page. I've already edited this, so just a pretty simple page. And you know what? I'm actually just going to add a contact section here. We don't need a special contact page here. So we'll go to contact, set it to black, and we'll just use a basic contact form block here. There we go. Okay, now let's start linking these pages together. So we'll go back over here to the home page. Fortunately, our menu is all set up and it's all linked together. But to link this fire photography portfolio, and linking the pages is super easy once you have built them. All you need to do is just click on the link button, click on page, and then click which page you want it to link to. And we can also do the same thing with images. So if we wanted this image to link to that fire photography page, just click on the image, click on the link icon, click on the page that you want it to link to, and link to it. And you can do the same thing with certain text. So we can highlight the whole text, click link, page, and then have it linked to that page. And we also want to make sure that we link our button there. But you get the idea, so I'm going to go ahead and link all of these pages together. Now there's just a few more things we want to do to kind of wrap everything up. One of the things we want to do is on these pages that we created, like this portfolio page where we've got a drop down and it links to other sections, and the case studies page where we have it linking to other sections. So you want to make sure you have some content on that portfolio page itself rather than just the pages underneath it. So for this example here, I just have it link to the different portfolio types that I have. That way, if somebody clicks on just the portfolio link, it will still give them some way of navigating to the actual portfolio pages that you have. And then a last thing you also want to do is kind of think about whether you want to do some search engine optimization. And one of the places that you might want to do some search engine optimization is on places like your images. So you can add a special tag to the images so that it kind of describes to Google and to somebody who might not have eyesight what that image is of. So to do that, you click on the little eyeglasses icon here, and then you can add some alt text. So you want to have something descriptive. So you might say something like, so I put here an example of industrial product photography as that link. You want to have something that does describe the image. You're not just trying to like jam keywords in there. You are trying to describe the image, but also something that, might be the kind of thing that somebody's searching for. So it's kind of like finding that sort of balance between stuffing keywords, which is not what you want to do, but having it be descriptive, but also descriptive towards the kind of thing that your viewers might be looking for when they're looking for your website. And also with the SEO, if you click on the little icon down here, you can click on the SEO tab, and it's going to help you find some of the broken links that you have and check links. It's going to kind of help you walk through some of the search engine optimization things you can do. And these are really helpful tips to walk through them. It's a really good idea to walk through this section also. Okay, and then the last thing to do is to preview the page that you created. You want to go through, just check all of your links, make sure they go where you want them to go. Click on the images that you've linked, just sort of like go through and just check everything. And then once you've checked everything, you can just click on publish and make your page go live. And so right now I haven't connected this to my final domain, which I'm going to do soon. Okay, and so there we go. I think this came out to being a really good looking portfolio website, and you can see how easy it was to do. You don't have perfect control over how it looks, but I think that the way it looks is going to work for a lot of people, and I think it makes a great looking website. If you are interested in checking out Jimdo and you haven't been following along with this, please check out the links down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps to support this channel. It helps me to make these free tutorials and to buy and test various different website building products so I can show you guys what the best way is of building websites. Thanks for watching.